Hello and welcome to Football League World TV. We've got a Nottingham Forest fan debate this afternoon. My name is Sam Watt, the chief editor of footballleagueworld.co.uk, and I'm delighted to be joined by Mr Dore. I'm sure many Nottingham Forest fans watching this show right now will have heard of him. Dore on tour on YouTube. How are you getting on, mate?
I'm not too bad, Sam. How are you? Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on, but I'm great.
Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you, mate. We're going to be talking about Steve Cooper this afternoon and the impact he's made since arriving at the City ground. Let's talk about the start of the season first. It wasn't great, was it, Mr. Dore, under Chris Hughton? 6 defeats from the club's first 7 games. The club's worst start to a season in 108 years. Let's just briefly touch on that start to the season. Just how poor was it from a Forest perspective?
I don't know what to say. The first game against Coventry, and we 1-0 up, and then second half, we should be encouraging to get the second goal, but he sat back, and then we lost 2-1, and from that game to what game was it? Middlesbrough at home. I don't know. It was just awful to watch. But what got to me was the Stoke game. We lost 1-0, and the substitutions was just, it wasn't great. We need something to change, but it wasn't. I was depressed. The thing about football, I was depressed when it comes to football. And nothing was changing. But it was awful to watch. It was really awful to watch. And then I think Lascelles got sacked against Middlesbrough. Game lost 2-0. It was just awful. I don't know how to say it, but it was awful. Great guy, but the games, like I said, we mentioned Coventry, we mentioned Stoke, and it was just awful to watch. And I think he got sacked too late, because I think we drawn 1-1 against Derby, and that game saved him. And after that, it was just it wasn't great to watch, Sam. But I was happy when I heard confirmation he was sacked. But he's a good guy, good record. But I think it was time to go for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, very likeable character in English football, isn't he? But it just didn't seem to work out for him at Forest. I think what surprised me most during his tenure is the fact that Forest have got such a talented squad for this level of the second tier, and he just wasn't getting the best out of the players that he had at his disposal. Any Nottingham Forest fans, if you're watching this show on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, send in your comments. What did you make of Chris Hughton's tenure in charge? We're going to move on to the main man of this show, Steve Cooper, next. So we saw Steve Cooper get appointed at Nottingham Forest in September. Dane Murphy, the new CEO at the City ground, making the decision. Let's come to you then, Mr. Dore, on this. What were your first thoughts when you heard the news that Cooper was going to get the job?
I was excited because I said his past he had with the England under 18s. He won the World Cup with them. And to be fair, he did a good job for Swansea. He got into the playoffs twice. And he lost in the playoffs to was it Brentford? But I was excited because, like I said, the way he plays football. I spoke to a few Swansea fans before he got put up Forest fans and said they was gutted that he left Swansea because we had the same situation with Blair Davis, 2 playoffs back to back, and then they get rid of him, and they were sacked as well. So with Steve Cooper to Forest, I think I was excited, but I wasn't well, he's going to get us to the next level because, as you know, Sam, we've had so many managers in so many years to get us back to Premiership. But I wasn't really excited when he came to Forest.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just touch on Dane Murphy next because we know the type of character he is. We saw at Barnsley what sort of managers he liked to bring in and his emphasis on youth. Steve Cooper obviously managed the England under 17s and won them a World Cup, didn't he, during his time there? And we saw at Swansea as well. Some of the players he brought through and really progressed as individuals. Do you think that was a big element of Dane Murphy's kind of thought process here, seeing Steve Cooper's work with youngsters before and the kind of, there are a lot of talented youngsters at Forest, isn't there? It kind of just felt like a good fit, didn't it?
Perfect fit. Because I said Dane Murphy, when he was at Barnsley, I was talking to a few Barnsley fans and the way he comes, he brings in managers, he likes to bring in young managers. I'm not saying Steve Cooper's a young manager, but he's Dane Cooper, he's a genius. And Barnsley fans were so unhappy when he left. And I said to a few Barnsley fans. When Dave Finlay comes to Forest, he's got a massive job. And yes, Chris Hughton got sacked, but when he brought in Steve Cooper, them two, they're like I said, both like young players. So it's a match made in heaven. But I don't want to thinking, oh, we're here, we've got two fantastic people at the club. Because anyone who's with Forest, they've got a massive job. But as you know, Sam, it's been really good so far. But we'll touch that a little bit later. But it's like I think it was a fantastic appointment for Dave Murphy to bring in someone like Steve Cooper's experience and that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's touch on his impact so far next. So it's fair to say that Steve Cooper's made a pretty immediate impact since arriving at the City ground, an upturn in the club's form and a general positivity around the City ground, it seems, with the fans and the players just seem to be smiling a lot more when they play.
Like me.
Just like Mr Dore. What kind of main things do you feel like he's implemented at the City ground? I mean, we've touched on, he has changed the formation, hasn't he? We've seen that three at the back become a pretty kind of solidified part of Forest tactics now. A big emphasis on the wing backs as well, Jed Spence and Max Lowe. I mean, what kind of changes do you feel he's made since arriving at the City ground?
The massive impact was interacting with Forest fans, and that's a massive bonus because I think it was 3 games. I think it was after the Birmingham game. I was lucky enough to meet Steve Cooper at the City ground with other Forest fans, and the way he come across, Sam, it was just like, wow. You hear Forest fans say, oh, they all talk, but the way he come across, he didn't judge nothing about he wants this in place. He wants this in place. It'll take time because Forest fans, we want instant success, and it takes time. And as you know, Sam, it's been like it's a 1 defeat in 9 now. And you mentioned the formation changing, and he's got plan A, but he's got a plan B. Our last 2 managers have not had a plan B, like Lemucci, Chris Hughton, they've not had it. And that's all Forest want. We want interaction with fans and players, and we want great football. And that's all we ask for. It's been 24 years now. It's been 24 years. We've been to the Premiership. It's slowly getting there. And Steve Cooper, like I said, is just the way he's interacting with Forest fans. That's what Forest want. Because, like I said, a past management, it's not been great, but it's slowly getting there. It's slowly getting there, but it'll take time. But like I said, we can't complain. I'm happy. I was sad at the start of the season. I was really sad. I said it on my channel as well. And I speak to Kevin Campbell. I was not excited talking about Forest, but look at me now. I'm happy. I'm happy as Larry.
Absolutely beaming, mate. We've got a comment coming from YouTube from Do Daily. Cooper has been a breath of fresh air. Players working as a team, fans supporting the players, relationships rebuilt. Do you echo that statement, Mr. Dore?
100%. Shout out to Des. It is, and like I said, it's not since that's happened to us, Sam. I think it's since Billy Davis, like interacting with. It's Billy Davis's first spell interacting with Forest fans, and with this, it's amazing. And like Steve Cooper, he's honest. Some managers in the past have dodged the question, and with him saying things, I'm like, it's fresh air. So Forest fans hear that what Cooper says, and the results go with it. And like I said, we've it's 1-9 and 1 defeat in 9 now against the Fulham match, but it's just fantastic, and yeah, it's just good to be a Forest fan at this moment. But it's still a long way to go in this league. Because league it's so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen in the Sky Bet Championship, can't it? Let's just touch then on the kind of. Do you feel that the Forest players have got a lot more freedom to play now under Steve Cooper? Because it felt at times under Chris Hughton that the tactics and the formation was quite rigid. It limited certain players to really express themselves. Do you think kind of Cooper's changed that?
1,000%. Because I was really critical with players like Graben wasn't scoring goals. And I was like, on my channel, I used to, I won't say Jack Colback. I wasn't a fan of him. But look at him now. It's gone for fun. From long ranges. Graben, he's proved me wrong as well. And he's got freedom. He scored, I think it's 5 or 6 goals now. He scored under Cooper. And you got players like Joe Lolly, Ryan Yates. Forest fans, like, I love Ryan Yates. And when he was in a slump, I still backing him because he's a good player. He doesn't come a bad player overnight. And with Cooper coming in, everyone's got freedom. You mentioned Spence and Lowe. They've come in from on loans from Middlesbrough and Sheffield United. And them players, they're playing fantastic. And we didn't have that under Houghton. And it's just, like I said, to see that on the pitch, and maybe like I said, I go to every game, seeing that, it's fantastic to see. And I'm just hoping it never ends. But like I said, it's just positive vibes seeing these players playing with freedom at last.
Yeah, absolutely. A few more comments coming in on YouTube from NFC Home and Away. Cooper has made me fall in love with Forest again. I actually get excited when a Forest game comes, and that's all.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Mr. Dore?
1,000%. Like I said, when it comes to away games, we always thought, oh, we're going to this, we're going to lose this game now, or even a draw. Like, we wasn't excited. Like, it's going to be another defeat. But I'm just so excited, like, going especially to away games, and it's good to see. Like I said, we've got a tough game against Reading on Saturday, but it's good to, like, I can't think like, oh, we're going to lose. But Steve Cooper's got us like this, thinking, oh yes, we're going to win. So it's just good, exciting to see.
Absolutely. As we've mentioned a couple of times on this show already, Forest have only lost once in Cooper's first 9 games in charge. That result against Fulham, who do look like a side that are a cut above the rest in the league, it's fair to say. Let's just touch on the kind of speed of the impact then at Forest, Mr. Dore. Have you been impressed with how quickly this kind of this change in the kind of whole feel of the club has happened, and actually the results on the pitch have changed just so quickly, haven't they?
So quickly. And when Steve Cooper got put to, like, I think his first game was against Millwall. It was 1-1, and Forest fans were like saying, "Oh, not again! It's the same old football, blah blah blah." But the game that changed me was the Barnsley away. It was 1-0 down, and he made that impact. The substitution was a massive impact, and from then to onwards, it's been like, wow. We can mention the Fulham game because Fulham, like you mentioned, Fulham, they're going to win the league. They're going to win the league. They're too strong for another team. The other games, like I mentioned, the Bristol City game. I don't know if you remember the Bristol City game, Sam. I was there, and I mentioned the games like Barnsley and Bristol City. It was never out of the game, and Steve Cooper made fantastic substitutions. And now look at us. The Bristol City game just said, 2 goals in the 90th minute from Lyle Taylor. That says Steve Cooper knows what he's doing. And like I said, it's just so good to be like a Forest fan. We've had a down times, but it's so excited to, like, we're slowly going up. But like I said, it's just, I can't help it. I'm just happy. I'm just happy. But it will take time. It'll take time.
Yeah, absolutely. A few more comments coming in on YouTube. Having a plan B with an ambition to sign players that can adapt to different systems will take us one step forward. Let's just touch on some of the results that Cooper's had then. There was that 3-0 win away at Birmingham, a real standout result, I thought, when that one came in. The 3-1 win away at Barnsley, and we've spoken about that 2-1 win against Bristol City as well. I mean, what has been the standout result for you so far in his time in charge? I mean, for me, that Birmingham result was special, but I suppose the manner of that win over Bristol City was pretty special as well, wasn't it?
Because, like you mentioned, like the Birmingham game, 3-0. Like, if you watch the game, Birmingham wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. We were just good, really good. But the game against Bristol City, that is the best away game I've been to for ages. And it's just the manner. And I said on my vlog, we were still in the game. We didn't deserve to lose, and I would have been happy with a draw with that game because Bristol City were bad, but we wasn't. It was final third, but then, as you know, Lyle Taylor, he'd done his all, and because he's not been great, like when it comes to goals wise, scoring 2 goals in the 90th minute. I remember I screamed like a girl in the second goal, and it was just amazing. Just the impact, like Forest fans, we've not seen it for ages. That impacts so much. Like the games against like Barnsley as well. Like when we 1-0 down, all Forest fans are thinking we're still in the game, because if that was under Chris Houghton, we would have lost, and he would have sat back. And it was just like it wasn't great. And then as well, I mentioned the QPR game as well. We won 1-1, and I said to myself, we're still in the game. We're not going to lose it. And Jack Cobback yet again, 90. I think it was 92nd minute. It's just that feeling saying that we're going to away games. We're not going to lose. We're still in the game. So it's just the way, especially away games. It's just exciting to see as Forest fans to watch how Cooper's playing. But it's crazy. It's crazy.
I suppose it's the manner of these results. It suggests that kind of Steve Cooper's really instilled some character into that team. The fact that they do keep on going, no matter what kind of barriers they come up against, until the 90th minute. You know, it's specifically that I remember that QPR game where Colback did score late on. And again, away at Bristol City, it shows some real character from the Forest side. Let's just touch on a few more bits there. So a few Forest players have come out of late talking about Steve Cooper and his time so far at the club. A particular kind of line from Lyle Taylor recently talking about the belief, a key word being the belief that Steve Cooper's now instilled into this team. As I said at the start of the show, you know, it is a very talented squad that wasn't living up to its potential under Chris Hughton. Do you think that element of belief and simply Steve Cooper just telling the players how good they are is a real key component of how the Reds have kind of changed their fortunes in recent weeks?
1,000%. Because I remember when Chris Hughton, I think Cooper was the manager against Huddersfield Town. We beat him, I think 2-0 we beat him. And Joe Lolle, I mentioned he put on his on his social media, he's got freedom to play. And you've got players like Lyle Taylor. He said he's not played as much games because we've got Lewis Graben, who's on form. The way the players go on the pitch, if 1-0 down, don't stop. And we've got players like Joe Lolle. We've not mentioned Brendan Johnson as well, and he's a talented player as well, and he's been fantastic as well for us. And I mentioned, like I said, people like Ryan Yates. Ryan Yates got so much stick, and now him and Jack Cobback together under Chris Hughton, everyone was just slaughtered them two. But now Cooper's come in. Ryan Yates, Cobback have been like the best two centre midfielders we had. We've got players like James Garner, talented player from Man United, who can't even get the team because of them two. So the way Cooper's come in, got these players to play, yes, we can do this. And like players like we've got like in the back three, we sometimes play back three or back two with Joe Wall, Figueiredo, McKenna. Them two are like, it's just a fresh air now to see them Forest players playing fantastic, especially Joe Lolle, because Joe Lolle's been criticised with the way he's been playing since I think it was Adam Quankio. But now under Cooper, it's just fantastic just to see these players thinking, yes, we can win this. It might be a draw, but we're playing great football and we're keeping the Forest fans happy. But we need to do much better to get to that where we belong, and that it'll take time. But just to see Forest fans seeing these players freedom, it just, I don't know. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I can't help it.
Absolutely. A few more comments coming in. Steve Cooper is well known to be brilliant at motivating players. We haven't had that since King Billy.
Yes.
Fair claim for sure. Let's just touch on the kind of togetherness and unity of the whole club right now, because that is something that Steve Cooper said at the very start he wanted to instill. You know, he was very keen to learn about the history of Nottingham Forest because it is a massive club with some, you know, massive history as well. And it's quite refreshing to see him be so open and honest about that and really look to kind of ingrain himself in the community as well, which is great to see. Have you felt that then as a Nottingham Forest fan, Mr. Dore, the kind of unity and kind of togetherness that Steve Cooper has instilled? Because you just have to look at full time, the way he comes over when you get 3 points, then 3 fist bumps. He clearly loves, you know, being with the fans and making them happy, doesn't he?
Yeah. I want to touch on, like, before, especially at the City Ground, we have that the song before the game, and he embraces the song that Forest sing, and him to, like, he looks around the ground and listens to all the Forest fans sing, and him doing that, it became like, in the past we've had Forest managers who sat in the dugout, and with him just looking around and trying to, like, interact with Forest fans, it's just wow. And I mentioned, like I said, I went to the Forest, Steve Cooper, if Forest fans don't know, he organised it for Forest fans just to come into that. So for him to do that, to have a relationship with Forest fans, it's difficult like you mentioned, like people like Limucci, Chris Hughton, and the past Forest managers, they've never done that. They've never done that. And for Steve Cooper to like want to know the Forest history as well, because people bang on about, oh, Forest talk about the history, blah, 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 this and that. But it's our history. And with Steve Cooper, he wants to get involved with fans, and that's important. And it's just, I don't know, it's so exciting for him to want to interact with Forest fans, because I tell you something funny before last time. I went to the ground and he knew who I was, and for him to say, trying to engage with myself and all Forest fans, it's just a fresh air. It's just like, I want to know how you feel to be a Forest fan and what you want me to do to get where all Forest fans want to be there, because it'll take time, but it's not like Forest fans like all fickle. Like we want to get there, but it'll take time, and he wants to get to Premiership, and then like it's been 24 years now, and I think if it's not this year, maybe next year. But Forest fans got to be patient with him, because as Forest fans, we're fickle, and we won't get nowhere if we be negative all the time. But Steve Cooper right now, it's just fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Nottingham Forest fans, continue to send in your comments. We love to hear what you've got to say. Right, let's touch on your hopes for the season under Steve Cooper next. It's fair to say Steve Cooper has helped propel Nottingham Forest up the Championship table. You currently sit in 13th place right now with one eye on the playoffs, you'd imagine. What are your hopes then, Mr Dore, under Steve Cooper at Forest? Is it to launch a playoff push?
You know what, Sam? I've said this. I said I started the season under Chris Hughton. I'm not like every season I say playoffs. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to predict it. I'm not going to predict where Forest think, because it happens every year. We started bad. We was bottom of the league. Cooper's come in and he's got, like I said, got me happy. If you do get playoffs, I think he deserves a knighthood if he gets the playoffs. But this league's tough, and I said if we get between 10th and 7th, I'll be happy. But if we get to the playoffs, Sam, I'll be excited. This league's tough, so I think I'll stick what I said. I think Forest will finish 8th, because there's so many good teams who's above us right now at the moment, and I think we finish 8th. But if we get playoffs, then I'll be so excited. But we won't defeat in 9. We can carry on, but it's the league's so hard. Last 4 years it's been hard, but if we get playoffs, I'll be happy. But I'm going to stick with 8. But I hope I'm wrong.
There we go. Like you said, there are a lot of teams in that kind of playoff picture this season, isn't there, that are kind of on a pretty even keel. So we shall see. Got another comment coming in. Playoff certs. It's not blind optimism. Seeing what we've seen, there's not much better. There we go. Lots of Forest fans feeling optimistic about Steve Cooper and Nottingham Forest this season. Right. Well, that concludes the Nottingham Forest fan debate, taking a look at Steve Cooper's impact at Nottingham Forest. Mr Dore, thanks so much for joining me this afternoon, mate. Really, really enjoyed that. If any fans are watching the show, please do check out Dore on Tour on YouTube. Some cracking home and away vlogs, all things red.
There it is.
There it is. Well worth checking out. A cracking Reds channel on YouTube. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to FLW TV on YouTube. We do appreciate all the new subscribers. We've got one more show this afternoon, the EFL London show at 4:20 with George Douglas, so make sure to tune in for that. But once again, Mr Dore, thanks for joining me, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you for having me on. Up the Forest.